Arsenal vs Manchester City Carabao Cup final coming soon. Manchester City set up Arsenal final, the Marmoush double sinks Newcastle. Strap yourself in for a Wembley showdown between Manchester City and Arsenal that should be as fascinating on the grass as the sideline where Pep Guardiola and Mikel Arteta bid to outsmart each other. City's manager was the Arsenal number one's tutor from 2016 to 2019, when Arteta was his coach. This forged a friendship, but there may be fireworks between them after Guardiola was incensed by the Spaniard's claim that he had all the information on City until they complained about Arsenal's dark arts tactics in the 2-2 draw at the Etihad Stadium last season. Expect media inquisitors to return to the spat after City booked a 22nd trip to Wembley under Guardiola in the quest to claim his fifth League Cup. They did so easily, to Omar Marmoush goals and a Tijani Reinders strike ending Newcastle's defence embarrassingly. Anthony Elanga scored for Eddie Howe's side, but a defensive horror show cost them. City's own rearguard remains leaky, so if Newcastle were more ruthless, as the manager pointed out, it might have been his men in the final for a second successive year. Howe urged Newcastle to impose themselves early, then saw City score 7 minutes in, and by the interval, the tie was all but finished. The opener came when Reinders passed to Marmoush down the left. He veered towards goal and Dan Burn raced across, but when slide tackling the giant defender, took the ball and ricocheted against the Egyptian's leg and looped over the helpless Newcastle goalkeeper, Aaron Ramsdale, and in. Guardiola skipped in jubilation as City's control tightened. Yet immediately the home rearguard was bisected as Anthony Gordon curved the ball left to Joe Willock before James Trafford, running out, killed the danger. City's deputy keeper did the same when this time Gordon had the chance. Trafford narrowed the angle expertly, a corner was conceded, and Newcastle failed to profit. Before this Ryan At-Nouri had fed Reinders in on City's left, but the Dutchman blazed wide, and later in a crowded Newcastle penalty area, Antoine Semenyo whipped the ball across goal from the right, but no teammate could apply a touch. The contest was open particularly now as Newcastle needed 3 goals, merely to achieve parity. Guardiola made 4 changes from the first leg win on Tyneside 3 weeks ago, the star name to miss out being Erling Haaland, though Phil Foden was in the sheet for a first time in 4 games. The manager's configuration was a 4-2-2, to that had Semenyo and Marmoush up top, while Howe's side, featuring 6 different players from the defeat at St James Park, played a 3-5-2. Yet, how Newcastle's setup was cast as all but superfluous just after the half-hour. By then City were 3-0 up on the night, 5-0 overall, and headed for a Wembley date with the Gunners in mid-March. First the ubiquitous Reinders pass to Semenyo, who crossed from the left. Kieran Trippier hashed his clearance. The ball popped up and Marmoush headed his second. This was in the 29th minute. 3 minutes later Reinders had registered. The midfielder relayed to Semenyo, this time in Newcastle's area along the right. He pivoted. The hapless Burn stuck a leg out, inadvertently serving the ball to Reinders, who stroked home. Howe's game plan was in tatters. A wing-back system is supposed to offer a defensive foundation, but if those in the back 5 underperform, as Burn twice and Trippier had, the system is immaterial. In first half stoppage time, then Botman forced Trafford into another save, but with Gordon having to be replaced by Harvey Barnes moments before he is an injury concern due to a hamstring problem, this was an anguished period for Newcastle. Young Wissa, one of 3 Newcastle second half changes, ran through moments after Tony Harrington restarted, but the striker scooped wide. The 29-year-old, who replaced Nick Waltermaid, was joined by Elanga for Willock and Jacob Murphy, who took over from Lewis Hall as the left wing-back. Guardiola substituted Nathan Ake for Max Alleyne, and when Ramsdale skewered a clearance out for a City throw, This suggested the young defender might not be too busy. But he did have a coming together with Wisa that had how furious when no penalty was awarded. And as Newcastle's manager complained, City moved the ball near Ramsdale's goal, where Reinders missed a gilded chance, steering wide. Soon after, Elanga slalomed in from the right, beating him, at Nori and Nico O'Reilly, before finding the back of the net off the left post. "We're going to win 6-5, was regaled by the travelling faithful, yet when Barnes scored soon after, it seemed more serious until the goal was ruled offside. Holland, coming on after 71 minutes, hit a post before drawing a latest blank. But on Wednesday night progression was all.